Madam Secretary, would you like to answer the final question so that the record is clear on your position regarding the debt ceiling date?
Regarding the debt ceiling date.
Based on the questioning from the previous colleague.
Yes, my very first letter to Congress indicated that while we had confidence that we could pay the government's bills until early June, but that highlighted that we were concerned that we might not after early June. We waited. There's considerable uncertainty about what our resources will be months ahead. It was critical to see what incoming tax revenue was. Once we saw that, we realized that early June was an even more serious problem than we indicated. And in several letters, I highlighted that June 1st, that we felt our resources would expire in early June, possibly as early as June 1st.
Thank you.
Our final letter
I just wanted to give you an opportunity to
June 5th,
clear the record.
which is awfully close to June 1st.
Thank you. And to be clear, it was all because of a self-inflicted manufactured debt limit crisis that my Republican colleagues caused, which had Democrats not delivered the votes in the House, would have caused a default, causing our economy to spiral out of control across the U.S., globally, and affect millions of jobs. Now, at the same time, we also have heard from my colleagues who've demanded more for fiscal austerity and a balanced budget. Now, as if without a second thought for their vigorous push for the government to tighten its belt, here we go again with another round of ill-advised cuts to vital revenue. House Republican tax cut scam will cost the United States taxpayers upwards of $1.1 trillion. I find that outrageous. Again, as they work towards deep cuts to essential programs like Social Security and Medicare, their extreme idea of fiscal restraint is another tax giveaway for big corporations across this country. Now, House Democrats and President Biden have fought hard to protect American workers and ensure we lead the clean energy transition into the 21st century, yet and still the House GOP are siding with their wealthy backers and the fossil fuel industry. The folks in my district in Nevada deserve more investment in our people, in our health, in our environment, and in our clean energy economy, and yet the recently introduced and misnamed Tax Cuts for Working Families Act accomplished none of these priorities. That's why it should be called the Republican Tax Scam 2.0. Secretary Yellen, do you have any indications as to the consequences of the proposed $1.1 trillion in lost tax revenue and how that would stem from these proposed cuts?
The ones that are now under consideration.
Correct.
Well, they would benefit wealthy individuals and corporations and do nothing for working families. And
is it paid for?
no, it's
And so that
no,
will
it's
add
not
to the
paid
debt,
for, and
correct?
of course, it would exacerbate
And
the
so
debt.
they will then have to pay interest on the debt
yes.
for tax cuts for the very wealthy while balancing the budget on the backs of working people that I represent.
Yes.
Additionally, could you discuss the macroeconomic cost associated with stripping away the recently passed tax incentives for clean energy production and clean energy vehicles with a specific focus on the harm to American domestic manufacturing in the green technology sector?
We have seen a renaissance in manufacturing in the United States as a consequence of the Inflation Reduction Act. There is tremendous investment that is taking place in our clean energy economy. It's creating good jobs all across the country, and not just on the coast, but in parts of the country that really have seen a decline in manufacturing jobs, and it would have a very harmful effect.
All I'll say in closing is the American people are watching. They're very smart. They know that the Republicans are not for fiscal austerity, not when they're giving tax cuts to the very wealthy
Gentleman's
on
time
the
has
backs of
expired.
working Americans.